Silence is often mistaken for emptiness. When someone is quiet, people assume there's less happening inside. But psychology shows the opposite. Quiet minds are not inactive. They are busy processing information most people never notice. If you've been told you're too quiet, too reserved, or not expressive enough, this isn't a social flaw. It's a cognitive difference. Quiet minds don't lack thought. They contain more of it. One major reason quiet minds are misunderstood is because modern society equates thinking with talking. The loudest voice is assumed to be the most confident. The fastest response is assumed to be the smartest. Psychology shows this is false. Quiet minds often delay response because they're processing more variables before speaking. While others react, quiet minds analyze tone, context, intention, consequences. Speech comes after understanding, not before. Another reason quiet minds seem weak is internal processing style. Most people think externally. They speak to organize thoughts. Quiet minds think internally. Psychology shows that internal processors don't need verbal output to think clearly. Their cognition happens silently. From the outside, this looks like hesitation. Inside, it's active integration. Another reason quiet minds process more is attention conservation. Talking consumes mental bandwidth. Planning words, monitoring reactions, adjusting delivery, quiet minds conserve that energy. Psychology shows that reduced verbal output increases perceptual input. Instead of managing expression, quiet minds observe. Body language, micro-expressions, emotional shifts, group dynamics. They're not disengaged, they're absorbing. Another factor is pattern sensitivity. Quiet minds naturally look for consistency and meaning. Psychology shows that pattern-oriented thinkers gather data before forming conclusions. So instead of reacting to single moments, quiet minds watch sequences. They notice what repeats, what changes, what doesn't align. That patience creates insight. Another reason quiet minds are not weak is emotional regulation. They don't externalize every feeling. Psychology shows that people with strong emotional regulation express selectively. Quiet minds feel deeply, but don't broadcast everything they feel. This restraint is mistaken for emotional absence. In reality, it's emotional control. Another reason is tolerance for silence. Silence makes many people uncomfortable. They rush to fill it. Quiet minds don't. Psychology shows that silence reveals information. When people talk less, behavior speaks more. Quiet minds allow silence to exist, and in that space, they notice what others miss. Another reason quiet minds process more is delayed judgment. They don't jump to conclusions. Psychology shows that delayed evaluation increases accuracy. Quiet minds wait for context. They gather enough data, then they decide. This makes them slower to speak, but sharper in insight. Another overlooked reason is low ego interference. Quiet minds aren't focused on being seen. Psychology shows that ego reduces perception. When attention is spent on asserting identity, less attention remains to observe reality. Quiet minds don't compete for attention, so their awareness stays open. Another reason quiet minds are misunderstood is that their thinking doesn't look dramatic. There's no visible struggle, no verbal storm, no emotional display. Psychology shows that deep cognition often happens quietly. The deepest thinking rarely announces itself. This is why quiet minds are often underestimated. But when they speak, their words tend to land with precision, because thought came first. Here's the truth psychology points to. Quiet minds aren't weak. They're loaded. Loaded with information, loaded with awareness, loaded with understanding. They don't rush to speak because they don't need to. They already see what's happening. So if you have a quiet mind, understand this. You're not lacking confidence. You're not lacking intelligence. And you're not lacking presence. Your mind processes depth before expression, and depth doesn't shout, it understands. If you want more psychology videos that explain why quiet minds are often the sharpest ones in the room, subscribe now. Phase 2 is about redefining strength, not volume,